Welcome to Hacking Your Leadership. I'm Chris.
And I'm Lorenzo.
Welcome to this week's Thoughtful Thursday. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at Hacking Your Leadership and leave us a review on iTunes. For this week's Thoughtful Thursday, I want to talk about something that happened to me a few days ago that was pretty frustrating. I was looking for a PDF that was sent to me. It was an important PDF, and I couldn't for the life of me find it. I searched for it for pretty close to an hour, and I don't delete work emails ever. I never delete work emails because I love having the paper trail of everything. They don't take up much space. They just sit there. I think it's fine to keep them forever, so they don't get deleted. And I scoured my inbox. I scoured other inboxes of other email addresses I have that it shouldn't have been in because I don't use those for work email. But I looked anyway just because I was certain it was sent to me. Couldn't find it, and eventually, where I found it was in an attachment to a video chat thread in Microsoft Teams. And, when I saw it, the first thing I thought was, oh yeah, I remember now when it was sent to me. And I probably should have saved it at the moment. We were in a video call and I didn't want to look like I was doing other things. I wanted to be in the moment for the call. But the reason why I never thought to look there is because it seems like just for the longest time, email was the only place that I would send or receive important things when it came to work stuff. And there's been such a bleed between different kind of apps. There's messaging apps. Microsoft Teams is trying to be everything. Slack is there for a lot of companies now. There's so many different ways of engaging with people from a communication standpoint, and they bleed over into each other. And it becomes frustrating because now I can't just inherently assume that something was sent in a certain place. There's so many places to check now. Is this something you've kind of encountered before?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there are so many communication platforms out now, and I think that they all have pluses and minuses. They all make sense for what they are. They all kind of fill a certain need or gap, for different types of reasons. And I think that the hardest part or the most frustrating part is when people utilize a certain platform because they like that platform the most. There's like a million of them. And so again, it's like I understand that there are needs and use cases for all these different types of platforms, but it seems to be a lot. It seems to be a whole lot. And it seems to be like you kind of have to balance all of them because somebody will tell you why each one is just as urgent as the other. And I also think too, in this world of mobile and desktop ideas is if you have certain workforces that really spend a lot of their time on their phone and not at a desk or in front of a computer and use their computers when they need to, versus parts of the workforce or parts of different departments that sit in front of their computer all day long, and that's their main form of communication as well. That causes some silliness as well, and just trying to get information out on all the different platforms. Because I swear, if I had notifications turned on for my emails, for my text threads that I'm on, for Slack channels that I'm on, for Quip updates that I'm on, for Box document updates, and if I had notifications on for all those things, my phone would never stop. There would not be a free second for me to talk to anyone because there's always something going on in all those different types of platforms.
I think another element too is that each person needs to define this for themselves, but there needs to be a little bit of a healthy separation between work life and personal life that doesn't tell your coworkers when that separation needs to happen for them too. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you work with people who have different priorities than you, and where they get their best email or Slack work done is at midnight, sitting at their computer when they have Netflix on in the background and they're getting some work done at the same time. Well, that's not obviously the best time for you if you're asleep, right? So to be able to say that all of these platforms need to be utilized in the same way that each person wants them utilized is impossible because you have different priorities from different people on your team. And so what I want to ask you, Lorenzo, is have you ever had to have a conversation with an employee because the way that they were utilizing the technology was not conducive for their relationship with you in terms of the separation of that or where they should be reaching out or how you felt they should be reaching out? And so I want to ask you that question, but first I'm going to give it a word from one of our sponsors. All right, Lorenzo, have you ever had to kind of level set expectations with a person because the way that they were communicating with you was just not the right way they should have been communicating with you in terms of the platform?
Yeah, it's I think as leaders we want to be accessible to people as much as possible. And I also have I feel the need that if people need to get in contact with me, that they have whatever they need to be able to get in contact with me for the responsibilities that I have. So I'll be the first one to say, like, I'm probably more accessible and I'm probably more responsive than a lot of leaders are, but only because, like, I don't know, it's just a part of who I am and kind of what I do. But there have definitely been times where, maybe there was a conversation that I was having, with someone, and they wanted to share something with me, an article or something they were reading about leadership, and then maybe they sent me the link, right, like to my phone, and I read it, or a podcast or something, and I checked it out and responded back. And then, like, a couple of days later or another week later, then, like, it's like a text message at like 9:00 at night, like, after they're ending their day, and just like, hey, really good day today. Here's a couple things I had top of mind, want to discuss. And again, it's just like, look, hey, cool, right? I want you to know that you always have access to me. But when it comes to stuff like that, like, those are things for sure. Like, send that in an email if it's urgent or if there's a need for something. That's like, let's use these platforms appropriately, because if you send me a message at that time of night and I see it, I'm going to immediately assume that it's an emergency or you need something. Like, that's just how I'm built in these spaces. So if it's about an idea or work or a strategy, by all means, I want to hear from you. Use this platform instead, because I will also check my email at 5:00 in the morning when I get up. That's a part of my workflow. I'll see it. I'll either respond to it. I'll talk, but just kind of helping to educate people on maybe all the different types of platforms. I also think the other funny thing sometimes is social media. The amount of times that I've gotten like a message from somebody, via Instagram or Facebook or something like that has to do with like work, and it, like, because these platforms are the way that people communicate. Sometimes you just kind of get that,
right?
And you're just like, hey, like, cool, I'll talk to you tomorrow, right? Or
right.
Like, are you in today? Like let's chop this up, But it's like there are those times that those things happen, where you have to have that conversation. But I think here's what I would tell you personally: like, don't ignore those messages.
Sure.
And make sure you get the time with the person to kind of walk through the different platforms that they have, the different access points they have for you, and kind of define it with examples of what those things might look like.
I think that's what it really comes down to, is the communication with the person about what the expectations are. Because if I'm a leader and I get a text message at 9:00, from someone talking about things that really, didn't need to be said at 9:00. They could have waited till the next day. It wasn't urgent. It wasn't pressing. And it also blurs the lines of that communication platform. I don't want that person to think that they can use that communication platform for everything. But I also don't want them to think that communication platform is off limits to them either, right? So it's not about the who, it's about what they want to discuss. It's about what is appropriate for a specific platform. And what that comes down to is having the conversation early and in a way that makes sense for both of you. Because I think what a lot of leaders do, and I'm absolutely guilty of it also, is the message comes in at 9:00 and I think, oh my gosh, what's wrong? I read it, it's not urgent. And I think to myself, I don't know that I want this person texting me about work-related stuff at 9:00 at night. That doesn't feel right to me. But I don't want to make them feel bad, and so I'll just let it go, and it'll be a one-time thing, and then a week later it happens again, right? And then if you wait too long, and after too many instances of this, then when you have the conversation with them, it will come off like they've made many faux pas in a row, and that you're now annoyed by this. They will take it more personally than if you just have the conversation with them the very next time you see them, in a respectful way that says, hey, I love that you like being communicative. When it comes to things that are, because I don't turn my notifications off my phone, when you send me a message at 9:00, I will get it at 9:00. And I will get that because I want to be accessible. So if it's something that doesn't require my attention right away, send it in an email instead. If it does require my attention right away, please, text is great. Use it. I want you to use it. I want you to feel like you can text me. But think about what the importance level here is. Have that conversation after the first time, and you're less likely to make that employee think through the 100 times they did it over the past 6 months and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this all over and over and over again. Have it early, and you can steer the relationship with your people in terms of what what you want the relationship and communication to be based on the different platforms. Because I'm telling you, the different platforms are not going away. There's just going to be more of them. The only way to have some kind of sanity in all this is to make sure you're clear with your team about what each platform is being used for and then sticking to it.
Absolutely. And with that, it brings us to the end of this episode. This is Hacking Your Leadership. I'm Lorenzo.
And I'm Chris.
And have a great day.